Welcome to the last in our series on the Cornerstones of Creativity. I'm Jane Dunewald.
And I'm Zenna Duke.
And this week we're going to talk about cornerstone number 4, which is confidence.
The final cornerstone.
Now the building is supported.
Yes.
So let's talk about the first 3 really fast. If you haven't seen the other videos, we hope you'll go back and watch those. And don't forget that we do have a PDF that you can print out that's kind of an outline of what we're talking about here, so that you don't have to keep watching us over and over again unless you're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So what about curiosity?
So we started with curiosity, and the point of that first cornerstone is just to begin to spark creativity in your life and to intentionally choose something that you've been curious about.
Right.
And pursue it and try it out, whatever it is.
And if you like it, that's great. And if you don't like it, either way, it leads to the second cornerstone, clarity.
Right.
Because you get clearer about what you like and what you don't like and how you want to spend your time. And that frees up time to be even more curious. And so you've really got the momentum going,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yes. And moving on to the third.
Right.
The third cornerstone, last video, was community. So once you begin to discover your preferences and get clear about what you like and what you don't like, you can begin to connect with other people who might have those same interests.
And you can figure out how to actually reach out and look for them.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking that a big group of like-minded people are going to come knock on your door.
Right.
when you least expect it.
Right.
Although that'd make a great movie. Mm-hmm. It'd be a good dream to have. In any event, now we're around to confidence. The problem with confidence maybe has a little bit to do with the shadow side of community. Because when you're around other people, if you start thinking that everybody's doing something better than you could ever do it, you shut down even trying.
Right. Yeah. I think we no matter what level of creative life you live currently, we all struggle with that issue of just comparing ourselves to other people and thinking that we aren't good enough.
Well, it's kind of a paradox, isn't it? Because when that's happening and we're shutting down because we think other people are better or we find ourselves lacking in some way, then we're not even trying. And when we're not trying, then we don't even have an opportunity to see whether our judgment call was right.
Right.
Or whether it was wrong.
Right.
So I think then you really start to just sort of shrivel up and shrink.
Yeah.
And you're shrinking away from the light that's going to nurture your creativity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that picture.
Mm-hmm. How do we become more confident?
Yeah, where do we find it? How
Yeah.
do we keep it going?
Right, that's the question. So I think essentially you just have to jump in, do something, like the outcome, and get a little notch in your confidence belt.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good way to put it. But you know, one thing I think people do, maybe unwittingly, is they want to jump off the top of the building when they haven't even ever
Absolutely
jumped off the
Yeah.
a set of stairs somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous analogy, but we could be kinder to ourselves by starting with something that's manageable instead of automatically going to something that's really hard.
Right. Like, I wanted to learn how to paint, and I had a friend give me some oil paints, and that's really a tough place to start, right?
Oh.
It's just, you have to learn the medium and all certain techniques for working with oil paints, and it's just, if I'm just starting to learn to paint, it wasn't a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I run into issues pretty quickly, and then my confidence just plummets, right?
So how would you have done that differently? Or how did you, if it's a do-over, what would you do?
A friend artist of mine, I was talking about this with her a little bit, and she, for Christmas, gave me a set of watercolors.
Oh.
And it was just
so different.
Yeah, it was great because I could literally sit down with some paper, a little cup of water, and just start exploring that. And so I began to do a few things that I really liked, and I was having fun. And I'm already beginning to become a little bit more confident in my painting skills because I took that step back.
So in a way, it's reminding me of the first video we did where we were monoprinting.
Right.
And you made the comment that it took 2 or 3 minutes to actually get into it, where you were letting the self-judgment and that critical inner voice or the committee. You were blocking that out or letting it go, but you did because you stuck with it.
Right.
But I think the second thing that I hear you saying that's important is the idea of beginning with something that's relatively simple.
Right. Yeah. Which brings us to
Oh yeah, squiggle birds, and we want you to do it too.
Yeah.
Okay, here's why I picked this exercise. And there are lots of exercises that you can use to explore your creative self.
Mm-hmm.
And they're open-ended. They don't have to be something that's going to hang on a wall.
Right.
And we have the Creative Strength Training card deck that we sell, and there are other people who, Lyric Kennard has a creativity deck that she sells, and she's a great teacher in this field. You could go online and look things up.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that sometimes, you're the one who said this to me just a little while ago. It's an exercise, and it's part of the practice.
Right.
And it's part of the creative strength training.
Right.
And so we're using that same language that you'd use if you were in the gym.
Yeah.
So these little exercises aren't necessarily like you're not going to go to the gym and row for 25 minutes for any purpose other than just being there and rowing.
Yeah.
And how it's going to strengthen you.
Right.
So these exercises are kind of open-ended or purpose-driven
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do squiggle birds.
Great.
Are you up for
Yes.
it? Okay, great. Here's how we go.
Okay.
And you can do this at home too, but stick with us right now and do it as soon as we're finished. So you want to get your paper, and you're just going to make 8 random squiggles.
Okay.
And not real close together. Give yourself some space around them.
Okay.
Okay, go. Turn each of your squiggles into a bird.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So you want to, what defines a bird? I love this because it's also a thinly veiled art exercise, because when you're studying abstraction, one thing you're doing is figuring out what parts of something, of an object need to be there to be recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of distilling of what's a bird.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So a bird has a beak.
Yes.
A bird has
Feet.
an eye. It has,
Hopefully 2.
oh yeah, but it's turned this way, you're
Yeah.
only going to see one.
Yeah.
Your Picasso-esque bird.
Yeah.
Anyhow, feet
Mm-hmm.
and a tail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was fun. And look how adorable they are. And I bet you didn't have any trouble jumping in.
No, it was easy to do.
What's your favorite one?
I like this guy right here.
Oh, he's cute. He looks like Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
Well, over here, here's the one I like of yours.
Oh yeah, I like him too.
He's good. And this duck is great. I'd put that on a kid's t-shirt.
Yeah.
So you know what I love about this? It engages the child.
Absolutely.
It's not
Yeah.
judgmental. You're in touch with the joy of just doing it, and that makes you stay in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it goes back to one of the things we talked about early on, the difference between what I think of, or what we've come to think of as sacred creativity as opposed to commercial creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Sacred creativity is doing something for that very reason, just for the joy of doing it. And it's for you, or it's for us in community here. We could have 6 other people at the table doing this, and it'd be a total blast.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll decide you want to take that one of yours, the duck, and turn it into a silk screen and put it on a t-shirt and sell them. Or maybe somebody would want to take several of these and group them together and add scenes to them and embroider it, you know. I mean, it could turn into something else, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a reminder to stay curious and stay playful with it.
And take that feeling and those skills that you're developing and use them in other parts of your life.
Right. Because the more you do it, the more you will begin to feel confident about your ability to be in the world in that way.
Right.
And that's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just making things and feeling confident because you know how to run a sewing machine or use oil paints.
Mm-hmm.
It's being confident that you'll be able to come up with creative solutions for all kinds of things, like how to talk to somebody who's difficult. So it's so powerful, really, when it comes right down to it. So what we're really hoping is that you will do your own squiggle bird exercise, or maybe invite whoever's at the dining room table with you tonight, if you live with people, to do it after dinner. That'd be it'd be a kick. And we're also hoping that if you enjoy what we've been doing in this 4-part series, you'll think about signing up for our 10-month program, which focuses not only on the cornerstones of creativity, but on every aspect of bringing creativity into life in a meaningful, rich, sort of deepening way.
Absolutely. Yep.
And there's still time to enroll, and there are some perks that come along with enrollment. But rather than be a hard sell about that right now, we hope you will have enjoyed this series, and if we have a chance to see you starting in March, we'll be even more delighted. Thanks.